What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back for another week, breaking down the top fantasy plays in Week 6, according to Awesemo'S NFL Rankings. We're coming off one of the highest scoring weeks in the history of fantasy football, so we've got a lot of momentum carrying us here into Week 6. So right now, please hit that like button. And also, if you want to win a free month of Awesemo Plus, comment the guy you think is going to get 2 touchdowns in Week 6. Could be any wide receiver, tight end, or running back. But right now, like the video and make your pick down below. As always, Awesemo'S NFL Rankings are derived by a mix of points and value according to the prices across all the DFS sites industry-wide. And let's kick it off with the quarterbacks as always. And a guy again at the top of the list is Matt Ryan going against Arizona in a game in which there were 26.8 implied points for Atlanta. Ryan gets an A in points and an A in value on Draftkings, Fanduel, and Fantasy Draft, while he's an A in points and a B in value on Yahoo. Ryan is up to 44.4 pass attempts per game versus a fast-paced Arizona team who allows opposing QBs a 68.4% completion rate and a nice 6.9% TD rate. So he looks good even if his preferred stack targets are hard to pin down, with 5 guys over 5.2 targets per game. And next up in Awesemo'S NFL Rankings, we have Lamar Jackson in a matchup against Cincinnati in which there are 29.8 implied points for Baltimore. Lamar will be an A in points and an A in value on Draftkings, Fanduel, and Fantasy Draft, while he'll be an A in points and a B in value on Yahoo. Jackson runs 10 times per game, but has still attempted 32.4 passes with 5 deep targets per game, and now he faces a Cincinnati defense that allows 5 yards per rush, 8.4 yards per pass, and a 70.3% completion rate to opposing QBs, while also bringing a low 4% sack rate. And a guy who did well for us last week is in another shootout this week, Deshaun Watson at Kansas City in a game in which there are 24.8 implied points for Houston. Watson broke the slate last week with 5 passing TDs and 426 yards passing, and he should need to keep that same energy versus Patrick Mahomes and a Kansas City team who should struggle to generate a rush, much like Atlanta did versus Watson last week. And now onto the running backs and also his NFL Rankings, and Leonard Fournette versus New Orleans is another guy who looks good with 22.5 implied points for Jacksonville. Uncle Lenny gets an A in points and an A in value on Draftkings, Fanduel, Fantasy Draft, and Yahoo, the first clean sweep of the week. Fournette keeps chugging along as the centerpiece of Jacksonville's offense with 23 touches and 6 targets per game, and he projects as a top running back value by far in a matchup against New Orleans' 4.5 yards per rush and a fairly high 5.8% rushing TD rate. And another running back who grades out well according to Awesemo'S NFL Rankings is Le'Veon Bell in a match with Dallas in which there are 18.8 implied points for the Jets. Bell gets a B in points and a B in value on Draftkings, Fanduel, and Fantasy Draft, while he's a B in points and a C in value on Yahoo. Bell should benefit from Sam Darnold's return with his 24.5 touches per game, and his 8 targets per game mean that he shouldn't be game flowed out if Dallas pulls ahead early, but Bell as a chalk play is a little scary despite a solid value projection. And let's get weird for the last running back I'm going to talk about, Adrian Peterson in a matchup at Miami in which there are 22.8 implied points for Washington. New interim coach Bill Callahan thinks rushing attempts are a key stat for his team to win, and now he faces a Miami team who's allowed 175.8 rushing yards per game, with Peterson still mostly looking serviceable if he somehow sees volume at his low price. And now let's move on to the wide receivers in Awesemo'S NFL Rankings and start with Tyreek Hill in a match with Houston in which there are 29.5 implied points for Kansas City. Hill gets an A in points and a B in value on Fanduel, a B in points and an A in value on Fantasy Draft, a B in points and a B in value on Draftkings, and an A in points and an E in value on Yahoo. Hill currently appears to be close to playing and stands to dramatically help out this offense as a top projected mix of points and value according to Awesemo'S NFL Rankings. Next up, we have Amari Cooper in that matchup versus the Jets in which there are 26.3 implied points for Dallas. Cooper gets a B in points and an A in value on Fantasy Draft, a B in points and a B in value on Draftkings, an A in points and a C in value on Fanduel, and an A in points and a D in value on Yahoo. Cooper sees less volume overall than Michael Gallup with 8.6 targets to Gallup's 9.7. This could be a Zeke spot with the Jets offense having looked impotent this year, but Cooper keeps getting it done every week and faces a mediocre Jets secondary who can give up big plays. And in our Cleveland is not good tier of wide receivers, we have Tyler Lockett in that matchup with Cleveland in which there are 23.8 implied points for Seattle. Lockett has 7.2 targets with 1.8 deep targets per game and an 83.3% catch rate, so he could have a big day against Cleveland's 55 graded coverage group by PFF. And now let's close it out with the tight ends and defenses in Awesemo'S NFL Rankings and start it off with George Kittle in a matchup with the Rams in which there are 23.5 implied points for San Francisco. Kittle will be an A in points and an A in value on Draftkings and Fantasy Draft, an A in points and a B in value on Fanduel, and an A in points and a C in value on Yahoo. Kittle's low 22.8 routes per game are always a concern for me, but his 7.6 targets per game remains solid, and he could see more work if San Francisco's quality defense can't stop the Rams' offensive attack. And at Kittle's salary, we have a very obvious price point pivot with Zach Ertz in a matchup at Minnesota in which there are 20.5 implied points for Philly. Cheaper guys like Mark Andrews and Austin Hooper will see more ownership than Ertz, who has a tough matchup but maintains 9 targets per game and could be needed in a competitive road game. And for the defenses, the Denver defense versus Tennessee projects well according to Awesemo with 19.3 implied points against Denver. Despite his failings, Marcus Mariota has yet to throw an INT this year, but Denver at home seems due to positively regress going against his obscene 13.5% sack rate. That could open up opportunity if Derrick Henry doesn't gash Denver with the run. And here's a defense I think is an interesting leverage spot, is the San Francisco defense against the Rams in a game in which there are are a bad 27 implied points against San Francisco. This is a brutal spot from an implied points perspective, but San Francisco deflects 27% of passes with a 9.2% sack rate, while Jared Goff falls apart when holding onto the ball over 2.5 seconds with a 63.8 QB rating, as well as a 68.6 QB rating when he's pressured. So there you have it. That's what looks like the top NFL fantasy plays for Week 6 according to Awesemo'S NFL rankings. So right now, please hit that like button. And if you want to win a free month of Awesemo Plus, like the video and comment the guy you think is going to get 2 touchdowns, a wide receiver, tight end, or running back. Give me your 2 TD boy down in the comments down below. With all that scoring last week, we had a bunch of 2 TD boys out there, but I ran the random generator to pick our winner from last week's video, and it's this guy right here, Kyle Singy. Kyle, I'm sorry about getting your last name wrong, but you are the winner. So email me at chris@awesemo.com to collect your prize. For everybody else out there, if you want your own free month of Awesemo Plus, like this video and comment your 2 TD boy down below. And if you can't wait for that random Excel generator to give you your chance at that free month of Awesemo Plus, use this promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE for half off your first month. You can also go to awesemo.com/join and find packages as low as $3.95 a week. That's really cheap, so go check it out right now. Find a package that works for you at awesemo.com/join. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I've had content coming out every day for both the NFL and the NBA. I'll have shows coming out tomorrow on The Contrary, Sunday live before lock. A lot of great content coming out, as well as my own personal podcast, which you should be listening to. So check out all that stuff from me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. So once again, thank you guys for watching. We had a bunch of views last week, so I appreciate the support. Hit that like button before you go, and I hope you all have a great weekend, whether or not you're watching content with me. And I'll see you guys again soon, so good luck.